all those numbers on those boxes, those stickers?
Are ridiculous.
They're a fantasy.
They're for tourists.
The prices are astronomical, and that's another scam, the special price.
Excellent. Number one. I promise.
This JVC camcorder was priced at $2,000, but the salesman made our tourist an offer she could not resist.
$2,000 normal price. We have it for sale, 30% off.
A bargain? No way. We paid $1,200, but later found out our special price for the camcorder was nearly double the manufacturer's suggested list price.
Anybody buys anything at list price, I'd be shocked.
Stuart Held is the executive vice president of 47th Street Photo, a discount electronics business considered reputable by New York's Consumer Affairs.
I don't know of many places who sell at list price today.
Even a department store?
Even a department store.
Our tourists were sold almost everything for above list price. Cameras, binoculars, telephones. And in New York, that is against the law, unless the merchant lets you know he's doing it. You might not be surprised to learn no one let us know.
Bye, sweetheart.
Thank you.
And we found the longer we stayed in the store, the higher the prices mysteriously rose. Instant inflation. On the sales floor at one store, the price for a battery.
$90.
Then at the register,
$99 for the battery.
at another store, a phone.
$250.
But later at the register,
$295.
then we parted with even more of our money, victimized by an illegal scheme called stock splitting. Watch this sales clerk. He sells us a JVC camcorder. Then he pulls out a VCR adapter.
How much is
This $49.
$49 for an adapter that should come with it, charging extra for accessories that are normally included. And that's stock splitting. One salesman took it to new heights when he sold our American tourist an Iowa Walkman and then charged $15 extra for the headphones.
Headphones? $15. Headphones don't come with that? $15.
Look at the package. The clerk didn't even bother to take the headphones out to sell them separately.
They're out there for the money. Every customer counts.
They're not just good salesmen.
They're excellent salespeople. Excellent. But they're there to take your money, and as much of it as you're willing to give them.
Charging extra is bad enough, but sometimes what happened was out-and-out fraud, like the switch. At Flamingo Electronics, our tourists agreed to buy a Watchman that would work in Korea. See the box? It's red. At the register, she was given a dilapidated box that was a different color.
It's a new box?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they also switched the Watchman inside the box with another one that would not work in Korea, with no guarantees, warranties, or paperwork.
Thank you.
And there was the name game. In the worst deceptions, the products themselves are designed to aid in the fraud. At Murata Electronics, a Panasonic cordless phone. Or is it?
One of the best phones you can buy with your money. This is an $800 telephone.
Look closely at the box. The brand name is Panasonic, not Panasonic. A fraud.
It is incredible. That's a great copy of what the real one looks like. It is definitely to fool the customer. It almost fooled me when I looked at it.
In other instances, the salesman went on flights of fancy, telling tall tales about what these products could do.
This takes the lights that we get from the stars and multiplies them by 500 times. You could see it as bright as you could see it in the daytime.
What he's selling is a pair of ordinary binoculars. They can't see in the dark. Another tall tale we heard several times was that products were infrared. Remember that overpriced JVC camcorder?
Infrared.
Infrared? Take a look at what an infrared image really looks like. Not exactly the stuff of home movies. Infrared recording devices are extravagantly expensive and are not available in common electronics stores.
Here's a situation where there's an exaggeration of the characteristics of a product, which is clearly a consumer deception.
We showed Fred Cerullo, New York's Commissioner of Consumer Affairs, some of the undercover video. Complaints about electronics stores are a chronic problem for his agency.
How outrageous can you be?
The law really doesn't leave room for exaggeration. You have to be honest in the sell.
Well, we heard sales pitches so exaggerated they were absurd. Witness this one for a so-called satellite phone at Flamengo Electronics.
This one, satellite. You don't even have to put antenna, just this. No more antenna. The company is satellite. Chips inside, satellite. Here.
If this is a satellite phone, that's news to us. This is a real satellite phone. Try fitting that in your pocket. It's a specialty item that costs $38,000 and is used in remote areas that have no phone service.
The whole scam since day one is because people, the human nature is greed. They get taken because they're greedy.
But there are other plausible explanations why electronics fraud is so successful. There's the language barrier hampering foreign tourists.
From Japan?
No, Korea.
Korea.
And for many consumers everywhere, an even greater technology barrier.
So how use it?
Most consumers don't know everything about technology and electronics and rely a great deal on the merchant or the salesperson. It is a very specific science.
If we had relied on this merchant, we would have thought this simple cordless phone was a cellular phone. Again, a tall tale.
How far?
How far? 600 kilometers, 700 kilometers.
Wow, that's from Los Angeles to San Francisco, Chicago to Kansas City, New York to Pittsburgh. More than 350 miles. The manufacturer told us the phone will work 350 feet from its base. That's not even 1/15 of a mile.
Some of the stories are so unbelievable, and it's very hard for me to have been there and watch how these tourists can believe such stupid nonsense.
It's easy to see how you might get tripped up. From the outside, even the names are alike. 42nd Street Photo, 49th Street Photo, an attempt to sound like 47th Street Photo, a reputable store popular with tourists. And once inside the stores, the numbers and claims fly in a kind of verbal shell game.
For $549, less 10%, which is $30 plus the hash. So if you discount $84 out of this, you're paying only $400 for the cameras. You understand?
All we understand is that we were had. By the time our shopping spree was over, we had spent $6,400 on all of the merchandise. If we had bought those or comparable items at a reputable discount store, we would have paid $2,800. We were overcharged $3,600.
If you'd guessed the Americans fared better than the foreigners, try again. Our Korean tourists were taken in 6 out of 7 stores, and our Americans were 3 for 3. As you've seen, anyone is easy prey. Is there any reason to go into these stores?
Not even for a roll of film.
Do you ever get a deal at one of these places?
Not unless they make a mistake. And they're not out there to make a mistake.
When we come back, you'll see just how happy some merchants were when we returned with the goods on them and their scams.
Out, before I break your legs.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sarah's not in right now.
Mom.
Sarah?
Don't say a word.
About what, dear?
I know it's terrible. Just leave me alone and let me die.
In that case, how about a last meal? McDonald's, maybe? I think that after a Big Mac and some fries, things won't look so bad. And besides, once upon a time, I got the worst do in the world.
Great.
And I was afraid that, well, my boyfriend at the time wouldn't like it.
And the boyfriend was Daddy, and you ended up marrying him.
No, actually, it was a boy I dated before Daddy, and he dumped me.
Thanks, Mom.
So, without that bad hairdo, I would never have met your father, and you wouldn't even be here right now.
That would be perfect.
Trust me, I think that everyone who sees your new do will think, now there's an interesting girl.
Maybe you're right.
Do you mind if we use the drive-thru?
Mom!
Never had things exactly my way. My childhood, my parents planned that. Then came the kids and the house. Retirement? I'll call it freedom, to be that kid that still wants to play. But I have to make sure the money will last.
Take control of your future. A plan from Merrill Lynch can show you how. And a Merrill Lynch financial consultant has more ways to make the plan work for you than anyone else. The difference is planning. The difference is Merrill Lynch.
Wednesday, live from Texas Stadium, Garth Brooks. It's me. Brings 5 years of his greatest hits to life. America's #1 selling album from America's #1 artist of the decade. A new primetime spectacular. Garth Brooks, The Hits, Wednesday at 8, 7 Central on NBC. Ripped from today's headlines, a mysterious death reveals a doctor's questionable methods.
She's a legitimate scientist.
She's a murderer. Law and Order, NBC Wednesday.
Weddings. From fabulous florals to gorgeous gowns, Martha Stewart shows you how to make your wedding a dream come true. So join us tomorrow and see what a difference today makes.
Here now is Stone Phillips.
Our undercover cameras have just shown you what really goes on behind those sale signs at some electronics stores. And now you're about to see what happened when we went back to ask the stores about their illegal business practices. We weren't quite as welcome with our cameras as our tourists were with their wallets. Once again, here's Victoria Corderi.
This is Flamengo Electronics, one of the stores that took advantage of our undercover tourists. Here they not only overcharged us, they also lied. Our tourist agreed to buy a watchman that would work in Korea, but it was switched at the register with a watchman that would be useless to her there. So we went back to confront Flamengos about the switch.
Hi, Victoria Corderi with Dateline NBC.
The salesman who helped our tourist,
How many days you stay here in New York?
suddenly couldn't speak English.
No English.
And we were told he didn't even work in the store.
You're a salesman here. I have it on tape. Can I show you?
Get the out of here. Don't make fun.
Can I, excuse me?
Get out of here. Out of
no,
the
we
store.
have, excuse me?
No, out of the store.
No, I have some
You have a
questions
warrant?
to ask you.
You have a warrant? Out of the store.
You want it?
Out of the store.
I'll leave the
Out
store.
of the store.
You don't touch me.
Out of the store right
You
now.
don't touch me.
Out, before I break your legs.
Why are you selling merchandise for this?
We sell for whatever we want to sell.
And you
It's a
switch
free country.
And you
Get
switch
the out of
merchandise?
At 49th Street Photo, the clerks were less violent, but the message was the same.
Hi, Victoria Corderi with Dateline NBC. I'd like to talk to you and this gentleman over here about, yes please, about some purchases that were made here.
Outside, I'll talk to you as much as you want to.
We wanted to ask about their illegal practice of stock splitting, selling separately parts that are supposed to be included.
Headphones, $15. Headphones don't come with that? $15.
We were thrown out, but an employee agreed to talk outside just so he could get us out of the store.
Can you tell me why this happened?
No comment.
And that was all he had to say.
No comment.
To every question.
Again, no comment. No comment. No comment.
We got the silent treatment at Romano Electronics, too, the place that gave us the very special price for a JVC camcorder that turned out to be almost twice the list price.
Excellent. #1. I promise.
All they would tell us off camera is they would take back the merchandise. But that's not what they told our tourist when she was still undercover and tried to return the camcorder.
But he says $700 for same one.
The salesman repeatedly turned the tables on the tourist, saying she was mistaken, that she paid almost double what it sells for elsewhere.
Only one possibility, maybe he's selling hot merchandise. You know what hot is? Stolen merchandise.
You cannot give me money back now. You
I'm
know.
telling you, I'm 100% sure, I'm honest. I'm 100% sure nobody can give you this camera for $700. Nobody.
We had some questions for 42nd Street Photo, too, where we were sold a bill of goods along with a cordless telephone.
I'd like to show you something and get your comments on it.
Yeah.
Here.
When faced with the evidence that he lied about the capabilities of a cordless phone, the salesman pauses for less than a minute, then lies again.
I showed the girl a cellular phone, okay?
But that's just another tall tale. He never showed us the white cellular phone he's holding here. Our undercover videotape clearly shows it was a black cordless phone he was claiming would work at impossible distances.
How far?
How far? 600 kilometers, 700 kilometers. She saw the phone and she
We have
picked
it
up.
entirely on
So,
tape,
have it
okay?
on tape.
You said it was a deal. That today, normal price is $1,400. Today, you pay $799. Well, in fact, manufacturer's list price on this phone is $319.95.
That is an absolute violation of the consumer protection law in that that merchant is deceiving the consumer as to the true value of the product that they are purchasing.
Fred Cerullo is New York City's Commissioner of Consumer Affairs. His office is in charge of policing and licensing electronics stores.
It's outrageous. I mean, it's outrageous that the merchant would have such a lack of respect for the consumer.
I told the lady she can get her money back if she don't like it.
If this had really been a Korean tourist going back to Korea, she would never have even any idea that she was ripped off. Do you think that's fair?
I didn't do anything wrong to the lady.
Perhaps the reason the salesmen are so arrogant is they don't often suffer serious consequences. If the stores are caught by the Consumer Affairs Department, they may be fined, but they're rarely shut down. In 1991, 42nd Street Photo paid $45,000 in fines. But as you've already seen, it was business as usual when Dateline went shopping. What does that say about the efficacy of fines?
There are many businesses that have very high fines imposed against them. The law is not created to just put people out of business automatically.
So doesn't that say that the law has no teeth? In the case of having to pay some fines, you're saying, so what?
No, I have to disagree there. The law is definitely on the side of the consumer. The law also recognizes that we have an obligation and a burden of proving that the business doesn't deserve to have our license.
Our undercover video certainly questions whether 6 stores we shopped should have a license, but they are still in business. Even one of the most brazen operators, Murata Electronics.
One of the best phones you can buy with your money. This is an $800 telephone.
Remember the Panasonic phone? A phony copy of a Panasonic right down to the lettering on the box.
Hi, I'm Victoria CORDERI with Dateline NBC. I'd like to show you something.
Show me anything.
I'd love to show you something. May I just show you this? We would like to have this on record.
I don't have to tell you nothing. I don't have to tell you. Who are you?
We're with Dateline NBC, as I said, and we sent an employee here. She was sold this piece of merchandise by that gentleman, this gentleman right here, this piece of merchandise, and I'd like to roll some tape for you so you can see it.
With our cameras outside, the Murata salesman tried to explain away the name game, the phony Panasonic phone. Believe it or not, they said they had been taken. The clerk said they realized it was a fake only after they sold it, that it was the only one they had in the store, and that, in his words, they had gotten screwed.
If we had cited this business in the past for doing the same type of thing, ultimately this business is in jeopardy of losing their license and having their business shut down.
Isn't it true that most people are just getting ripped off and going on their way, and these stores continue in business?
I don't know if that's too broad a statement. The majority of the stores are very legitimate and provide a very important service.
In 6 out of 7 stores, we were ripped off.
The statistics that you're providing are unbelievable, and they are of great concern to me.
But these stores seem unconcerned and on a daily basis play pretty good odds against getting caught. Watch the clerk at Duquesa Electronics when we confronted him with a number of violations, including running a continuous sale that was no sale at all.
Is that fair? I'm just asking you, do you think that's fair?
We didn't sell not even one item over list price. Everything was below list price.
Finally, after several minutes.
Okay, thank you. Now I gotta tell you to go out. Thank you. Enough. You had enough.
So what are you saying?
You had enough time. I'll see you tonight on the news.
We've checked several times since then, and the sign is still there, and the phony sale is still going on.
Next week, you'll see how you can avoid getting ripped off in electronic stores, whether you're on vacation or in your own hometown.
Still ahead, she believes the fact that she's a woman nearly cost her her life.
I was literally in so much pain that I was fighting to stay conscious.
The deadly...